What do you think are the biggest issues facing House District 95?
Absolutely 100%. The biggest issue that is facing our district right now is the lack of attention and funding for our public schools. Our community has always been a strong supporter of our public schools and has actually voted recently on a bond election with over 70% approval. And we're just not getting the funding coming to our district that we need.
On that note, you have said that the students shouldn't be our biggest export. What can be done to keep them local?
Well, obviously, it all comes back to funding. When we keep reducing funding and when we keep demonizing the people that are educating our children, we create a system in which nobody really wants to be there. And we really need to make sure that that investment is there. Not only does it assist our businesses in having a qualified workforce, but it also ensures that people are set up to have the skills necessary to move forward in life and pursue life and jobs and all that wonderful stuff that makes everything so worth living.
What do you think can be done to improve life for seniors in the district?
Oh gosh, there's so much. I know that inflation is really hitting home right now. There are different things that we can absolutely do to take a peek at that kind of stuff. I know that we are sitting on about $2 billion in our rainy day fund, and that is taxpayer money. So anything that money gets spent on should go directly back to enabling the taxpayer to have a little more freedom, a little more leeway, or services that are going to impact and create positive situations for folks. So we can definitely look at things that we need to do. I know a lot of senior issues come down from the federal level just because of the federal programs that support seniors whenever they retire and have health insurance and the like. But there are definitely things that we can do with the supplements and making sure that they've got access to everything that they need.
If elected, how would you best serve military families who live in Midwest City?
So glad you asked. I'm a former military spouse myself, and so I do know that point of view. I never attest to the point of view of the service member, but I know how those families react. Whenever we have families come into our district, and especially in House District 95, because we house Tinker Air Force Base, we have to be cognizant of these issues. And, our school district has done a really good job of ensuring that the children's needs are met whenever they move into our area and have those resources, especially to mental health, because moving a lot and having to remake friends every year or 4 years or whatever the PCS schedule is very difficult. But on the same token, it's very difficult for a spouse to be able to be employable in new districts sometimes. And just moving to an unknown area, not knowing what neighborhood you want to live in, what type of resources or shopping that you might have nearby, really have to keep those things in mind as we're looking how to support our military families. So definitely keeping in contact with our people on the base, and I know our city chamber, or excuse me, our Chamber of Commerce here in Midwest City does an excellent job of keeping tabs and making sure that the city is very tied in to that. So I'm just keeping going with what we're doing, but also make sure we allow those extra voices to come in to identify any additional needs we need to take a look at.
Income tax cuts were a big conversation at the Capitol last session. Where do you stand on that?
The income tax cuts are kind of a fun topic to discuss. Everybody wants a lower tax bill. Absolutely 100% we do, because we just want more money in our pockets. And the easiest thing that we can think of is to cut taxes. And, we passed the grocery sales tax cut this year, and it is going to make a big difference in a lot of working families' pocketbooks. But what we have to understand is anytime that we cut income taxes, it creates a situation where there's going to be a lack of revenue in certain departments. And we've got to look at what departments those are coming out of and what services they're providing to people. I'm a firm believer that the powers of government and the processes of government should ebb and flow with the needs of the people. And, it's definitely something that we need to make sure that, right now when people are suffering, maybe we need to not take such a close look at an income tax cut right now, but save that for another time when we're a little bit more prosperous and we can reduce some of that burden on families. But we need to have those essential services to make up for the lack that some of our families are facing.